The whole southeastern U.S. got a really big storm yesterday, and we kind of had several options available to us. We're thinking about going to West Virginia, paddling in the snow, but I've never really been creek boating in Alabama, so we are gonna go down to Alabama. We're gonna go creek boating, and we're gonna go check out a waterfall that I've kind of been dreaming of running for like 5 years, and I just feel like it's everything that I've ever trained for as a paddler. And it's just a really incredible waterfall. It's called DeSoto Falls. It's a 20-footer into an 80-footer, and I think it's going to be at a good runnable flow, and it's never been run. So I mean, I'd love to just go check it out and just see what it looks like.
Okay, well, I'm stoked to be a part of rapid transit because
that experience, which was so primal and so intense and just incredible.
The fun, kayaking.
Trying to tell meaningful, exciting, funny, silly, dangerous, scary stories.
It's a portal for me to be able to put my ideas out there.
Express exactly what it meant to you.
It's kayaking for the right reasons.
Paddling with my friends, having a good time.
We're working together.
Share those experiences.
Keep that memory, you know, and show other people what I do.
And so it's about that progression downstream.
Everybody kind of within the group has their own unique style.
The rapid transit video.
Will you look at this mess we have made? Just look at this mess we have made. Will you look at this mess we have made? But they were so right to say, if we can do it here, you can do it anywhere. To talk is to bragging and action from here. If they can do that there, I can do it anywhere. And I know right to complain.
While discussing exactly what it was that rapid transit meant to each of us individually as kayaking filmmakers, Chris Gallaway made a statement that, in a nutshell, describes the story that this film attempts to tell. You know, he asks,
what does kayaking mean to different individuals? To the guy who's just learning to throw his first in, to the guy who's trying to run a 100+ foot waterfall. Every aspect of it is fascinating to us, and we just kind of want to show that as best as we can.
and I already know the answer to this question for myself.
But why do we spend so much time driving around to go kayaking? Why have I just spent countless hours editing this video? I mean, what's so great about kayaking?
If we can do it here, we can do it anywhere. Talking to bragging and actions from fear. If they can do that there, I can do it anywhere. And I know right to
There we go. So, give me a little quick rundown of what you guys are about to attempt. Today's August 28th, 2008. We're on the fringe of Hurricane Faye, getting the rain, and
Adam Herzog here is moving out of town pretty soon, out of North Carolina, and a big goal of his has always been to do the Linville Gorge 3 times in one day. So we've been talking about it a good bit this week. Not really sure if the water levels are cooperating with us because it's pouring rain on us right now. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and we're getting ready to hike in for what will be our first, maybe only run, depending on the level. It was 2.9 and dropping.
It's raining.
It's raining really hard, and there was wood all over the road.
Yeah.
And
it should be well over 3 feet.
boys later. Yeah. Have a good one.
kind of the crown jewel of the Hayes workshop. Came out of a zinc smelting plant in West Virginia that was getting torn down. Because I know every time I have a horseplay, I almost always have a reason for discharge. Almost every time. There's a few other golden nuggets that came out of there. And don't disregards.
Find the life filled with what we want.
When I was a little girl, this is what I always pictured. It's being married to a kayaker.
See, that boat, some dreams do come true. You just have to drink big.
That was my goal in life. Drew didn't start kayaking until after we got married. He wasn't a kayaker before we got married.
Acute kayaking syndrome. It was raging pretty much by the time we got married. It was more inflamed once we got married. I had a summer where I was unemployed trying to make a career change, and it just happened to be one of the wettest summers we ever had here in Wilmington. I just happened to pick up kayaking in that year, so I went from beginner to boating class 4 in about 3 months. Each year I try to take at least one trip, usually 9 to 14 days to Central or South America. On some good years I get to take 2 trips. The trips are intensive surf kayaking trips with the same bunch of
here that I designed myself. That's the reason why I still have it. White Bear, named after a river in Newfoundland. This boat, believe it or not, was short for its time. That's the White Bear. And to cut it down to 12 feet, it used to be, all the boats were about 13 and a half. So, it's kind of nice because if you had some speed, but you could still paddle the other yacht with it. It was our expedition boat of the day.
So this is similar to what you would have paddled on Linville?
This was a much shorter boat than we paddled on Linville. This boat here. Like I say, it was cut down to 12 feet. That was short in those days. I had trepidations about cutting it so short. We had this rule of ours, we call it the 3 times rule. We didn't want to run something just for the spectator, for the bravado of it. We wanted to prove that it was runnable. We came to Great Falls back in 1975. Well, this is actually the first part of it we ran. We ran the spout here the first time when we ran the falls. And then we worked our way upstream. We ran that thing called S-turn right up there. And then we ran the spout for the second time. And then we went up to the top one and ran that. That was our goal, to run the spout 3 times to prove that it was runnable. So it wasn't just to run it for bragging rights, but we wanted to get people to be convinced that it was a runnable thing. So we wanted to expand the sport in that way. Open up. Look up.
We're here at Niagara Falls and ran it 4 times. It's it's not really Niagara Falls, it's Super Falls. And we just ran the middle drop 3-4 times. And my teeth got a good pace of my paddle. And had to sacrifice a piece of my front tooth for it.
And I'm 25 years old, and that over there is my friend Shane. He's 34 years old, and this is our birthday party. This is like a few of our other friends. They're all married. Yeah, we keep the married people on that side of the party. We told most of them not to bring their kids, but Jody kind of f***ed up. Yeah, our kid's really cute, so it's alright. I think I was pretty good at English before I came here, but really when I came to the U.S., is when I started, my English got a lot better. But the biggest thing when I first came to school, there was like a rule at school, if you're not allowed to say any cuss words, and if you say any cuss words, you have to do 25 push-ups. And I think it's good that they had that rule, because it was like a real harsh awakening for me of like, you can't cuss as much as you do back home, and that cuss words are really not as much a part of spoken language. I think I even remember meeting some of, like, when I first went to Adventure Quest and I met some of the kids' parents, and I would have conversations with them, and I would say a lot of like and whatever that I thought was perfectly natural, but the kids would, their eyes would get all big and they're like, I can't believe you said that in front of my mom. But I guess I just didn't realize that it's not said that way here. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Cereal is a good meal. It's a good snack. You know, usually Andrew and I aren't very good at camping stuff, but this time we came prepared. We met in Spain, in Sort, Spain, at the pre-world championships. We were I think we were surfing the hole in practice, and I cut in front of him in line, and I had a really good ride. So I said I should always cut in front of you because I have good rides and I do that. And he said okay, or something like that. And I thought he was cute.
That's pretty true. That's our first extended interaction, and then apparently that made enough of an impression for her to chase down a 19-year-old through a bunch of years, and now here we sit.
I didn't chase you down over a bunch of years.
About a year, maybe.
And our first date was at the Gallaway, and he had just broken a tooth because he hit his paddle, because he hit his teeth with his front tooth with his paddle, so he had a cracked tooth on our first date.
Not just a cracked tooth, I was missing a tooth.
Yeah, he was missing a tooth.
All the changes that were made could be explained. Science said through some equation.
The girls did play today. That was good. And we had fun.
What
Girls
about?
just want to have fun. Everyone knows that.
You plus 7.7 minutes. Main engines throttled down to keep acceleration below 3G so that the shuttle does.
Hello. Hi. What are you doing? I'm much bigger than you. I have bigger mouth.
T7, T plus 8.5 minutes. Main engines shut down. Much like
This is my house. Moved here actually Labor Day weekend, and this is where I keep my boats. Actually, some of them actually get to live inside too. I actually was going to set up a better rig. I mean, I've only been here now for 2 weeks, and I got to think of a better rig in which to hang them on the rod.
I'm not such a catch, I'll never leave it up a match.
it is. My little sailboat. I've designed it after a 470 center board, and I've been busy building that on and off. When I have some spare time, I come here and I just continue working on it. When I'm here, I don't think about kayaking much. It's just like a completely different world in my head.
Above the lip of the Linville Falls. This is where it all begins if you want to kayak here. Kayaking trips typically provoke a concoction of conversation, as did one noteworthy trip for me. Therein I learned a new term, the Eddy feeling, of which the meaning I hope to convey through the rest of this story. I thought about the term, the Eddy feeling, and my mind raced to this one spot on the Linville Gorge in North Carolina. I imagine most kayakers have a favorite spot on the water, a place to be away from everything, at least for a few moments. Linville Falls and the gorge that follows have for centuries been a natural wonder, and a visual and spiritual draw for natives and passers-by. The impressive thing about kayaking the Linville is not so much the size of the rapids, but more so the difficulty and consequences of the rapids, and the remoteness of the gorge. It is littered with undercut rocks and dangerous sieves. Even in the Class 1 and 2 rapids, you have to stay alert and on your feet. These places may be even more dangerous than the larger rapids. On top of this, there are countless unnamed Class 3 and 4 rapids in between the significant Class 5s. Some where the smallest misstep can leave the best kayakers wishing they hadn't let their guard down. Just came through that thing. And it's higher water, but there's not enough water going through that slot. And I kind of pinched down between those two rocks and it sucked. That's really what you want to do. Walk it, hop back in.
That right there is why you want to know where you're going in Linville.
This is the Linville Gorge shuttle. You put in and take out on the same road. The normal put in that people do is at Babel Tower, you hike down the trail about a mile or maybe a couple miles, and you take out normally at Conley Cove. That's the short run. You can do from the falls. You put in below the falls and you can go all the way down to almost Lake James and take out. In that case, you do the entire Linville Gorge. What we're doing is really the short version, and you end up doing about 6 or 7 miles, maybe 10 miles at the maximum of all the best stuff. The formation of the gorge and its geology lead us to understand why perhaps the river can sometimes have an unforgiving nature. Over eons, the Linville River has been cutting its way through soft rock, leaving harder rock to topple and undercut, during which process migrating the Linville Falls upstream nearly 12 miles to its current resting place. The result of this process has left a beautiful gorge full of difficult whitewater, laced with undercut rocks and sieves. On top of that, the gorge is the most remote of its kind in the eastern seaboard, making medical attention and rescues far from reach. The Linville River watershed trickles from the south side of Grandfather Mountain, opposite of the Watauga River and the town of Boone, North Carolina, and finally terminates 20-plus miles later into Lake James, close to Morganton, North Carolina. As the storyline has built over the past couple years, we were able to connect with Tom and Jamie McEwen, who gave the first known attempts at paddling the Linville Gorge as early as 1974, before I was born.
My name is Tom McEwen. I've been paddling, I guess, about 40 years now. We made our own kayaks back in the day. That was, gosh, in the 60s, late 60s. And my friend Wick Walker and I, we wanted to see what you could do with a kayak as far, or a canoe, or closed boats, what you could do as far as exploring remote areas, sort of akin to mountain climbing. So there was a lot of questions that we had. You know, we knew that we would have to go down steep rivers, and at that point we didn't know really whether you could run a waterfall. So that was one of our first objectives, is to figure out, could a waterfall be run? Well, it really wasn't so bad. As we all know now, going over a waterfall is not such a big deal, but it is a little bit different when you're going over a waterfall in a 13.5-foot boat. So we generally penciled in pretty much all the time, straight in. But we got so we could kind of go off it at an angle a little bit and land a little bit more flat. And so it wasn't so bad. Good point. Yeah, we had done, there are several rivers that we had done sort of for the first time. And then somewhere in there came the Linville Gorge. And we took that one on. First, Wick and I. And we carried 20-some times, first time down. Never got to the end. I peaked on my boat and got stuck in it. And then had to break through the deck. Luckily it was a fiberglass deck and I could break through it and get out. Lost my shorts in the process. Fortunately still have my skirt on because we had to walk out after that. And then going back to the Linville with my brother Jamie a couple of years later.
I believe it was the spring of 1974, and I was on spring break from college. And my brother calls up. Linville Gorge was something that had been written up in an old good guidebook by a guy named Burnmeister. And so my brother had his eyes on it for a while and had actually been in there with Wick Walker once before. And so he was all hyped up to do the Linville Gorge. I didn't know that much about it, but I was willing to follow him anywhere. He was a kayak god at the times, especially of running the river. Well, at the end of the day, I guess in the middle of the day, really, Tommy broke his boat, and
we didn't complete the river, but we did, I think, the majority of it.
As Tom and Jamie explained all this, I realized that the Linville Gorge was perhaps just a milestone in their paddling careers, and how lucky I am to have this river in my backyard. Many kayakers have paddled this river between then and now, and there are no doubt a book of stories and lies to be told about who ran what and when. Respect is certainly owed to those who first ascended the big ones and opened up our imaginations to what can be done on this river and in kayaks in general. All but perhaps one rapid on the river has been run at one time or another. Here is a list of some of the most prominent rapids, but by no means a comprehensive list of the countless rapids in the gorge. Babel Tower. Drunk Tank. Hallway, also known as Jailhouse. The Cave Rapid. Dr. Seuss.
It never was a good time, you said. I guess it was the right time for going crazy. Look at all the time we let slip away. It never was a good time, you said. I guess it was the right time for going crazy. Look at all the time we let slip away.
Donkey Kong. Twiggy's Revenge.
So this rapid has 4 names that I know of. One is Homie Slot, the other is the Cauldron, the other is Twiggy's Revenge, and then the most recent one I've heard is Fight Club. I'm sure they all have some significance. It's a tough rapid. It's hard to get out of.
And the drinking and the drugs are the only souls, only souls. And even though you're a not so distant memory, well, it's gonna take a while for the pain to pass. Yeah, it's gonna take a while for the pain to pass. I only want is
And Cathedral Falls.
never was a good time, you said. I guess it was the right time for going crazy. Look at all the time we let slip away. Never was a good time, you said. I guess it was the right time for going crazy. Look at all the time we let slip away. Slip away. We let 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 slip away.
The multitude of other Class 4 and 5 drops should not go unnoticed. Every paddler in some way expresses sentiments of their own passions for kayaking and how it is interwoven into their lives. What do I deduct from this? Basically that everyone has their own story, their own experiences, and that kayaking is fun.
This is like a photo of like my buddies when we were starting to paddle. This is outside our kayak club in Tel Aviv. Check out our nice sweet ass life jackets that we're using. This is their legs. It's nice, isn't it? So my real name is Jonathan Miller, but I've always been called Jontan. Actually, I've been called Jontan for the first 17 years of my life when I was living in Israel, and now I'm Jontan in America, and now I work at Astral Buoyancy, and I'm the sales manager there.
I think people just have the assumption, like that's what gets the worst, is that people have the assumption that you work in the paddling industry. So you might not be able to go kayaking every day, but it just rained an inch and a half, so surely you can leave the office today, and everybody calls you, which is nice. Like, I'm glad my friends call me, but I can't go, leave me alone. I think that I was always really excited about kayaking, but I think that I'm like, the one time I go a week now, or the 2 times I go a week, I think I can have a lot more fun doing something pretty basic than I would if I paddled, before I paddled like every day. And then your standards go up and you really you start getting bored with some stuff, I think. Or not bored, but like some stuff you can start taking for granted.
I don't think I've seen it.
They're like forensic investigators or something like that, and they're always like, "Oh yes, we're gonna try this. That chemical is gonna reveal the blood on the cloth. Oh, perfect. Let's try this." Like if they didn't know it.
Oh, Simon is like he owns shares in this place. He comes here in the morning at lunch hour, and even just before we close. He's one of these real quiet guys, doesn't say much. He's very polite. He likes his coffee, and he's a cookie freak. He loves these chocolate chip cookies.
My name is Simon Martin. I've been working as a product designer for Riot Kayaks for the past 5 years now. And pretty much all my life I've been interested in boats. Pretty much everything I enjoy turns around water, be it whitewater or sailing or stuff like that. So I'm pretty proud to be able to work in that industry. We're at the foot end of the Lachines Rapid, and that's where I ventilate from the stress of working in the kayak industry, paddling.
I love when people always say, how big was it? Because that's not really the point. The point was, did you go and did you surf? It doesn't matter how big it is. I've had fun on big days and I've had fun on small days, and I guarantee I've had more fun on small days than I've had on big days.
The island of affection can only go so far when we're the wreck of a ship that is sinking with no hope of landing. One hand on the deck when the other's behind the back.
Hi, I'm Drew Hayes. I live in Wilmington, Delaware. 40 years old. I've been kayaking for about 12 years, something like that. I'm a civil engineer by trade. I do civil engineering and land planning. Delaware professional license 13280. There's a different reward with almost every trip, but the action is still the same. You feel rejuvenated, you feel happy, and in reality you've done some exercise and you've made yourself healthier without even realizing it, because you're having such a good time. It's true meditation.
Girls That Play that focuses on teaching women and encouraging more women to get out in whitewater kayaks and recreational kayaking. We're at the Russell Fork today in Kentucky. It actually borders Virginia and Kentucky. And the line at Cower is a boof off the right side, and you kind of boof straight out so that you move over. I am walking fists this weekend because there's a really big undercut, and a number of people have gone under it and drowned. And it's an easy line. It's like class 3, so I know I could do it, but I'm just not okay with the consequences if I mess up, even though the likelihood of messing up isn't that big of a deal. So, you know, for me, kayaking has got to be fun, and I like it to be as the least, I want the least amount of stress possible, even though this is an adventure sport, and, you know, being nervous is part of the game, and managing stress and fear is part of it. There's just sometimes when, you know, it is the easier way out, and I choose to take it, and that's okay.
That's me when I'm older. I don't know who she is, but she's nice. Helping me read that using my GPS device. My name is Mike West. I'm the Area Human Resources Manager for First Citizens Bank in the upstate of South Carolina. I've been kayaking since 1992. We've been paddling whitewater and surf kayaking ever since. So it's been a great stress relief, in particular for things that I do here day in, day out. I think the common factor that brings all of us together is the water. It's being out here having some fresh air. And that commonality is what really takes down all the defenses that we set up day in, day out. It doesn't matter that I'm in human resources, and it doesn't matter whether the person paddling next to me is an engineer or, like I said, flipping hamburgers. It's all about this water. It's about listening to this.
My name is Chris Gragtmans. I'm 22 years old. I'm originally from Oakville, Ontario, and I grew up in Picton, Ontario, in Canada. I love the sport of kayaking more than almost anything I've ever experienced in my life. I've never really encountered anything that can bond people quite like that. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about just the fellowship of the kayaking world, and how people are just kind of connected in it. Recently, I got to do 3 runs on the Linville River, and seeing the cars and finishing the hike out after the last run was a similar experience, although I definitely didn't have as much energy. That's the great thing about kayaking, is that you can keep having those experiences, because as your skills grow, your perspective on those rapids changes, you know? So it's like the same thing that I experienced on DeSoto Falls, I experienced on Nantahala Falls when I was, 12. It's like the greatest thing about kayaking, you know? You can just keep pushing yourself, and it's like you worked really hard, and this is the reward, and you'll never lose that. You'll have that for your entire life, that feeling of that particular moment when you achieve that for yourself. And that is why I kayak.
never really gotten burnt out because every time I got a little tired of doing something, there's always something else that has popped into my agenda, and I've been able to pursue that. So it went from racing and exploring and teaching, and it's been quite a full life just paddling. Well, and only in the last 4 years have I had my own business. So Liquid Adventures is finally my own company, and we go on trips to Mexico, to Canada. We have classes on the Potomac River, and we do training groups and kids and pool rolling classes. Truthfully, my old students have come back to me and have given me more lessons and more important lessons about the sport than I ever gave to them. And just in terms of, I've had some who have gone to the Olympics and won Olympic medals, and some who have excelled, in terms of running rivers. We wanted to really discover whether we could do these things or not. So we tried to work through it, understand it, and all the basic steps that you had to take. But we weren't really trying to go for like first descents and that sort of thing. It was the content that was more important to us than the bragging rights.
Trying. That's where it's at, man. Oh, succeeding, man. Everybody tries. You can't succeed. For when you succeed, you only have farther levels of success to search. But you don't have to try anymore. You can only try. No, then you have to try again. That's the whole thing. Try. Once you succeed, I don't think it's not asking you to try. It's not. You have to try.
both really tired, but we were hoping to catch up with you guys. Hopefully it's not still rising. It rose a good bit from our first run to our second run, and it was like pouring on us the whole run. But then we got to the takeout and it was sunny, and we were like, kind of got a little bit of glimmer of hope, you know?
I wouldn't mind if it had been a little bit lower, but...
Are you guys gonna wait a little bit and then go for your third?
No, I'm ready to get on there and get it done.
All right, well, let's all go. We're all here.
Surfing all day. I think I got my surfs in, so.
Really high, but we like, I feel like we were like getting in a really good groove earlier. We weren't really talking very much, but just like keeping an eye on each other, switching positions. Like one person would Eddy out, next person would on, and like I'm totally exhausted right now. Not gonna lie.
So long ago when they first ran the Green Narrows, and I gotta say, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think the way I look at it is that there is a continuum, you know, from the stuff that we did and to the stuff folks are doing now. And so I applaud it 100%. I think it's great. And you know, when I see some of these films of these guys running huge waterfalls, and the fact is you can land them, go over a 70-foot waterfall and land it, and it's clean, and they can do it over and over again. So I gotta say, I'm with them 100%. I love it.
My name's Gragtmans, and it's been a week and 1 day since I ran DeSoto Falls in Alabama. Looking at the waterfall from the profile shot from the side, I was basically just talking to myself about that curler and visualizing. I was kind of like going through the motions with my hips and with my pretending that I was in my kayak staring at the drop. So I just kind of like kept scampering around, looking at every aspect of it, and then I just kind of like walked up to the lip of the first one, sat down, and just kind of cleared my head of all other thoughts and closed my eyes and basically just asked if it's something that I really should be doing in my life, and if the risk is really worth the reward, and if it was a responsible thing to be doing. And I love pushing myself, but there's a lot of things that I want to do with my life other than just run a big waterfall, you know? So I was just kind of asking myself, you know, is this a little bit too much? Should I really be doing this? And whenever I have kind of an inner dialogue like that, I really believe that you can receive like an answer. And the answer that I came up with was that, yes, I've trained for this, worked really hard. It's always been a dream of mine, and I do want to run it.
that stretch ahead of us, the roads that led us here, singing traditional renditions of the songs we sang last year. And though these times have made us stronger, the outcome's no more clear.
All of these individuals are fine examples of how kayaking affects its participants. But these people are merely an example of the paddlers that exist out there. Their unified voices and emotions seem to be that which represents all of us who kayak and love the water. They embody the idea that kayaking is essential to their lives in one way or another. On the surface, they may look like a banker, an engineer, sales manager, product designer, small business owners, husbands, wives, kayaking instructors, or college students. And they are those things. But what makes them who they are and who they are happy being has an immeasurable amount to do with one common thing.
Don't think I'll see around this winter, and my tongue's stuck full of splitters, 'cause I'm embarrassed to admit what I've been thinking. The hope keeps them afloat, but for me it's no lifeboat. Tighter I hold on, the deeper down I'm sinking. I tried to put my finger on it, but I gave it my whole arm. I reached out with good intentions, but it only did more harm. We find ourselves alone ever since the day we're born, and we seek someone to sew suture in the places where we're torn.
It's raining outside and I didn't even notice. And outside the window, oh yeah, probably thinking so. About how we people ride arguments on the seats of a colorful carousel. Oh, when they come back around, I doubt they'll be beautiful. Forever better off as an awkward situation. If the shrapnel stays